Football is a passionate sport. Managers try to stay cool, calm and collected, but that's not always possible. Here are some of the biggest managerial meltdowns of all time. Keegan. "I will love it if we beat them. Love it." Those were the words Keegan exclaimed live on TV after Newcastle beat Leeds 1-0 in 1996. The target of Keegan's ire was Manchester United and Alex Ferguson in particular. Newcastle and Man United were neck and neck in the title race, and Fergie decided to play some mind games. He claimed opponents were trying harder against his team than they were against Newcastle. Leeds were one of the sides he was talking about. They'd played really well in a narrow defeat by United in April, and Ferguson suggested they wouldn't put in as much effort against Newcastle the following week. The Magpies also beat Leeds 1-0, but it was a hard-fought encounter. After the match, Keegan was unable to contain his emotions. "You can tell him now if you're watching it, we're still fighting for this title and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something and I'll tell you honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it." Unfortunately for Keegan, they didn't beat them. Manchester United won the title by 4 points. Poor old Super Kev. Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho has managed 9 clubs in 4 different countries, and he's had run-ins with countless other coaches during his career. He regularly clashed with Arsene Wenger during his time at Chelsea. Mourinho labelled the Frenchman a voyeur in 2005. 9 years later, he slammed the Arsenal boss as a specialist in failure. Mourinho's also had verbal battles with Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, Rafael Benitez and Antonio Conte, and he's no stranger to meltdowns in interviews and press conferences either. Who can forget his incredible 7-minute monologue after Chelsea lost to Southampton in 2015? The special one accused referees of being afraid to give penalties to his team. He said his players were mentally and psychologically down, and he called himself the best manager in Chelsea's history. All of this was in response to one question. What did you make of your team's performance today? There was another memorable meltdown in 2018. After his Manchester United team lost 3-0 to Tottenham, Mourinho held up 3 fingers in his press conference and then said, "Do you know what this is? 3-0. But it also means 3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them, too. So respect, man. Respect, respect, respect." Alex Ferguson. There are many reasons why Alex Ferguson was a managerial genius. One of them was his mastery of mind games. Fergie knew how to win the psychological battle with other managers, and that gave his players confidence and belief. Ferguson wasn't always able to keep a lid on his emotions, though. The Scot loved to deliver well-thought-out jibes in his interviews, but occasionally raw passion took over instead. At times, even simple questions caused him to lose his rag. Ferguson swore at Sky Sports interviewer Jeff Shreves 7 times after he suggested Cristiano Ronaldo had dived. Other journalists also fell victim to the hairdryer treatment. Ferguson took on a whole room of reporters in 2002 after it was put to him that the signing of Juan Sebastian Veron hadn't worked out. "I'm no effing talking to you. Veron's a great effing player and yous are all effing idiots." Sometimes it was managers on the receiving end of Ferguson's sharp tongue. In his first few years at Arsenal, Arsene Wenger regularly got under his skin. Fergie never tired of throwing shade at Wenger, who arrived in North London from Japan. "He doesn't know anything about English football and the demands of our game. He's a novice. He should keep his opinions to Japanese football." Ferguson usually had the last laugh in his many battles, but the fiery Scot wasn't always in control of his emotions. Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola tries not to get drawn into verbal spats with other managers. Manchester City and Liverpool have been competing for trophies for years, but Pep still has a good relationship with Jurgen Klopp. Guardiola doesn't always keep his cool though. He's a passionate man and he's definitely not immune from losing his temper now and then. Most of Pep's meltdowns happen on the touchline. We often see him sink to his knees, chase after 4th officials, and harangue the referee when decisions go against him. His most famous outburst in a press conference came during his time in charge of Barcelona. Ahead of a Clásico in a Champions League semi, Jose Mourinho accused the Barca boss of criticising referees. This time, Guardiola was unable to bite his tongue. Tomorrow at 8:45, we'll play a match on the field. Outside of the field, he has won the entire year, the entire season. He can have his personal Champions League outside the field. In this press room, he's the chief, the effing man. In here, he's the effing man and I can't compete with him. Pep's eruption was perceived as a victory for Mourinho, but on the field, Barcelona beat Real 2-0. Rafa Benitez. After Kevin Keegan, the second most famous rant in Premier League history was delivered by Rafa Benitez. The year was 2009 and Liverpool and Manchester United were battling for the title. Benitez took umbrage with Alex Ferguson's comments about the fixture list, and he unleashed his frustration in a press conference. The key word in his diatribe was facts. He used it 6 times as he argued Ferguson and United were given preferential treatment. Rafa railed against refereeing decisions, punishments handed down by the FA, and Ferguson's behaviour towards match officials. "I was surprised by what has been said, but maybe they're nervous because we're at the top of the table," Benitez said. Are they under pressure? Maybe they were not thinking that we would be at the top of the table in January, but we are at the top of the table and they're nervous. The move backfired. United won the title and Benitez's outburst is remembered for all the wrong reasons, and that's a fact. Arsene Wenger. In his early years in the Premier League, Arsene Wenger stayed calm under pressure. His feud with Alex Ferguson was intense, but the Arsenal boss rarely let his emotions get the better of him. His jibes were usually witty and cutting, such as when he responded to Ferguson's suggestion that his United team of 2001-2 were better than the title winners Arsenal. "Everyone thinks they have the prettiest wife at home," Wenger smirked. But as time wore on, Wenger became more susceptible to meltdowns. He slammed the United boss after Arsenal's 49-game unbeaten run ended in 2005. Ferguson's out of order. He has lost all sense of reality. Wenger also lost control at Stamford Bridge in 2014. It was his 1000th game in charge of Arsenal, but Chelsea and Jose Mourinho were determined to ruin the party. Mourinho had been getting under Wenger's skin for years, and the Frenchman finally lashed out by pushing the Chelsea boss on the touchline. Arsenal went on to lose 6-0, making it a miserable day for Wenger. Giovanni Trapattoni. Giovanni Trapattoni is one of the best Italian managers of all time. He enjoyed huge success in his home country, winning 6 Serie A titles and the European Cup at Juventus, and 3 more trophies at Inter. He also coached abroad, most memorably across 2 spells at Bayern Munich. He won the Bundesliga in 96-97, but Bayern failed to retain the trophy the following season. Trapp was clearly feeling the pressure by then. He went on an astonishing rant in broken German after a run of 3 straight defeats. Even his own players weren't safe, with Trapattoni unleashing at Mehmet Scholl and Mario Basler. "I'm a coach, not an idiot. A coach can see what happens on the field, and these players, 2-3 of these players, were weak like an empty bottle. Have you seen Wednesday? What team has played Wednesday? Did Mehmet play, or did Basler play, or did Trapattoni play? These players complain more than they play." Guess what happened next? Trapattoni left Bayern at the end of the season. Nigel Pearson. Keeping calm under pressure is a key skill for any manager, but Nigel Pearson has failed that test on several occasions. He was almost sacked as Leicester boss after a bizarre incident in 2015. Crystal Palace midfielder James McArthur accidentally collided with Pearson on the touchline. The manager responded by putting his hands around McArthur's neck, then holding onto his shirt sleeve so he couldn't get back onto the pitch. This came just a few months after Pearson was caught on camera telling a Leicester fan to F off and die. Journalists weren't safe from Pearson's volcanic temper either. He called one reporter stupid and daft in a press conference before comparing him to a particular type of long-necked bird. If you don't know the answer to that question, then I think you're an ostrich. Your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand? My suspicion would be no. Rino Gattuso. A tough-talking midfielder in his playing days, it's no surprise that Rino Gattuso became a tough-talking manager. A clip of Gattuso exploding in rage during a press conference went viral. The Italian was in charge of OFI Crete at the time, and he admitted that his team's performances were sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shocking. That was just one of the hilarious moments he delivered to reporters in broken English. "I want my players to play with balls and heart. It's too easy for me to leave. Me stay here? I don't want to go home and cry because we don't have money. Many teams in Europe have no money. I don't have the excuse that the players don't play with us because we don't pay salary. F off, this is not true." The best thing about Gattuso's meltdown is that it had to be translated into Greek by his interpreter, who looked like he wished the ground would just swallow him up. Alan Pardew. It's not that uncommon to see players squaring up to one another on a pitch. Occasionally, two managers get up close and personal on the touchline, but no one was used to seeing a manager tangle with a player before Alan Pardew headbutted David Myler in 2014. It was a moment of madness from the Newcastle boss. Myler gently pushed Pardew first, but he was just trying to get the ball back to take a throw-in. Pardew completely lost his cool and headbutted the Hull midfielder, who had to be held back by his teammates. Pardew was handed a £100,000 fine and a 7-match ban after the incident. In future, he kept his touchline antics to dodgy dancing. Who else would you add to the list of managerial meltdowns? Let us know in the comments section, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.